This show was so good that the intro had an intro. This show was so good that it started with the main event. This show was so good it made Shane Thorne look good. This show was so good, Candice LeRae actually beat Shayna Baszler for the NXT. No, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. But
the Full Sail invasion has begun of primetime television, and this is NXT.
Welcome, everybody, to What's NXT for October 2nd, 2019. I'm your host, the Rated R Reviewer, Stephen Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good morning, wrestling fans.
And no kidding, folks.
Yeah.
This was a really good, this was a great show.
Beast of a show.
They put on as good a show as I think they possibly could at this point with all of the storylines and everything going on. This was, I couldn't have done better. I don't think anybody else could have done better. This was awesome for a number of reasons, and we will get into all of those. But it was nice, for one, not to have to switch from watching it on the streaming television service.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the name because I don't want to give them. I don't want to give them free ads.
Yeah.
Because I like them because they're orange, but they keep going up on price. And anyway, they did, however, keep my subscription from USA to Fox for SmackDown. I didn't actually have to go in, find it on Fox, and start a new record all of these onto my little space there. But what I'm saying is we didn't have to switch from that to the WWE Network in order to watch hour number 2.
Yeah.
What sucks is the streaming services, when you record them with on-demand or with online DVR, they cut off at a very specific time. They give the show 2 hours because that is what it told everybody it was going to be broadcast. That's kind of like how Raw used to go over 5, 6, 7 minutes, sometimes even more than that. Sometimes into the double digits.
Yeah.
When The Rock came back to host WrestleMania, it was like 17 minutes over. Like, they made a habit out of doing that, so eventually companies figured it out. Because when people didn't have the power to move their selected recording time back and forth, or didn't record the show that came after, and you don't want to, you got to do that every week because it might be a different show every week. Yep. That is some ridiculous bullshit. And this week dated back to before you could do anything about it. This dated back to when you set your VCR.
There's that no.
Yeah. They went over on this show, and it really sucks for several reasons. But we will get there. Suffice it to say, it was a big enough deal that I want to mention it now and go into great detail about it. I don't know if you guys experienced this, but a lot happened after that cutoff, that 2-hour cutoff. There was a lot of shit that happened.
Yeah.
And we started the show with Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole for the NXT Championship.
Even before then, I'm going to say this.
Let me back up.
We had a really cool intro done by Corey Taylor from Slipknot, pretty much introducing the product and making a big to-do about the fact that this was going to be the first 2-hour officially on USA. Yeah. And really hyped the product and did a fantastic job of it, so kudos. Not sure if you watch the program, but kudos.
Well, doing a fantastic job of it is probably the theme of this show.
Yeah.
Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole for the NXT Championship leads the show.
Right out of the box.
Right out of the box. Blew my mind. Because I'm like, well, are they going to end the show with the women's title match? Or the tag title match? Or something
it could
completely different?
It could have easily just been a Matt Riddle promo to promote the match at the end of the night. But no, this was, they were going to do this match right now.
And it turns out was actually a really good idea.
Right as you said, out to the ring, right before he even leaves backstage, Riddle standing there, arms folded, gives him a fist bump, and sends him on his way. So
yeah, Matt Riddle, cool as hell. You made the comment while we were watching this match that you can't believe there was ever a time that you didn't like Matt Riddle.
Seriously.
But this is true. This is the true for both of us. There was a
Yeah.
time when he first got to NXT and his first, let's say, half dozen matches.
We were Cassius Ohno. We really were. We didn't see his appeal. We thought, it's like, oh, great. Who's this guy? You know, nobody really cared. And sure enough, he made us care. Like, it took him a little while, but I think the 5-man scramble is what finally did it for us. I think it was. And then after that, he just consistent performer. Consistent.
Not just consistent, he gets better I wouldn't say he gets better every match, but he gets better on a regular basis. You see new things out of him all the time. Like now we're seeing him go from using the Bro Mission to the Fujiwara armbar, and I like that for two reasons. One, as you stated before, that gives him 2 submissions now that he can use as finishers, and 2, it gets him a little bit further away from the moves that all have the word bro in it.
Yeah.
Although he does go for that, what is it, the floating bro?
Yeah.
Twice. He lands it once, but floating bro, man, and the broton. Like he needs some of the incorporations of the
Broton pack. The Bro Mission.
See, but that sounds like a good pun, the Broton pack.
Yeah.
But his are not so much.
No.
But whatever. The Broton bomb. Anyway, I've got a lot of notes here, but I want to hear your thoughts on the opener.
Well, like I said, we already had this already had kind of a takeover kind of feel to it. The crowd was already electric, and we had the really cool intro like we talked about. And all of a sudden, we're thrust right into Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole. Granted, on another station, we had another company that's, I guess battling, and they had to do something as well, but at the same time, we had Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole alone on paper looks like a great match.
Yeah, but let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because we didn't talk about this when we watched it. Did any part of you think Matt Riddle was going to win?
No. They weren't going to have Matt Riddle drop the belt or win the belt on the first episode, but they wanted something that was going to be spectacular, hard-hitting, fast, and we got out of that match, which was made even more special by the fact that the first 30 minutes of this show was commercial free. They devoted all that time and whatnot to this match.
And then I figured out what limited commercial means.
Yes.
It means that during matches, the commercials will feature the little box up in the corner that has the match still going on.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be 20 seconds shorter in length, commercial breaks. I learned that by having to fast forward single arrow for 10 seconds at a time, double arrow for 1 minute at a time.
And just when you thought the match would slow down in some way, shape, or form, or was going to end, they found a way of making it even faster, even more brutal.
Yeah.
And it just didn't feel like it was ever going to stop.
I don't know how long this match was, but I feel like it was like a 20-minute match.
It had to have been a good 20 minutes. Maybe even 25.
And it never slowed down. I don't remember a rest hold in this match. The only holds were the ones that might have ended in a submission.
Yeah, even then, there was constant motion. There was constant thrashing about, reversals. Adam trying to get to the ropes.
Big shots, too.
Yeah. A lot of workout work, a lot of impact on the neck. I noticed that in that match. A lot of neck impact in the head.
Oh, God.
You still can't drop Matt Riddle on his head or kick him in the head or anything, because all you're going to do is piss the dude off. It's like he doubles in size he doubles in size like fucking Hulk. Anytime he gets kicked in the head or dropped on the head in some way, shape, or form.
That's the one place he's impervious.
Yep. Oh my god. The match
when you have no brain, it doesn't get hurt.
It could. This match was actually takeover worthy. I
think so.
I actually can't say that. Was it takeover main event worthy? not so much, I don't think, but it was way up there.
Oh yeah, I've got tons of notes. You're gonna hate me, folks, and I'm sorry, but I got to do some of the spots. Uh, there was a count first spot. This had us both like I missed it, but you were and I was like, what did I miss? So I backed it up. Cole counters a Death Valley driver. I'm assuming
Yeah.
is what Riddle was going for, but certainly a fireman's carry into a high angle backstabber.
Yeah.
I think we've seen him do this before, but it didn't look as nice.
Yeah.
This time it really looked nice.
Oh, yes.
Let's see, Cole lands a super kick and then comes off the ropes, ends up running into a high knee that Riddle runs into him. This is a series of spots. Cole counters with an enziguri, and then Riddle hits a German, and this is where Cole lands on the back of his fucking head. Like, there's no other way to say it. And then counters a suplex because Riddle goes for a vertical. He counters that with I think this was his second Ushigoroshi of the night.
Yep.
For a near fall. There was a lot that happened before I even started taking notes. For those of you that hate on me,
the Panama Hangover.
I probably waited 10 minutes before I even wrote anything down. Because, again, it was all stuff that we've seen before.
Yeah.
Let's see. Cole counters a floating bro with knees to the back. Goes up to the middle rope. Panama Sunrise gets a near fall. And then Riddle comes back, gets a GTS, hits that power bomb that he rolls over into that running knee to the face, and then does the floating bro, hits it this time for a near fall. And then he flips over the top rope, monkey style, where you grab the top rope and he literally doubles over and catches a super kick for his effort. And then a roundhouse to the side of the face, or to the back of the head, sorry. And then another Panama Sunrise. But he goes for the last shot, Adam Cole does, and Riddle ducks it and grabs the bro mission. This is where I think Cole counters with a roll-up, but it gets a near fall out of it. And then Riddle goes for the Fujiwara armbar. Cole, I think, makes it to the ropes.
Yep.
And then, no, he counters with a roll-up. Again, near fall. And then Riddle goes for it on the left arm, but Cole gets out of it somehow, gets up, turns around, clocks Riddle over the head with, we forgot to mention, he came out with a cast over his right arm because there was a broken bone in his wrist. But for some reason, he was cleared to wrestle.
Yeah, sounds awfully shady.
He cracks Riddle over the head with it, Bam Bam Rubble style.
Yep.
And he hits that, the last call. 1, 2, 3.
The last shot.
Last shot. I keep wanting to call it the last call. Good song. That's not the end of the match, really.
No.
Or it's at least not the end of the segment. But what a fucking match. Like, the stuff I didn't write down was incredible.
Well, there's also the Everest deadlift German suplex, which is always cool to see how.
Yeah, he hit that like twice.
Yeah,
I think
it's like German suplexes for Matt Riddle always look awesome, and the fact that he kicked out of 2 Panama Sunrises, or just even didn't seem phased by him, was pretty awesome. Seeing as though we saw Keith Lee pretty much get nailed by a sick one last week as well. So
Colin Andrews says the match was 14 to 15 minutes.
It felt like longer, but at the same time, but it was felt just great.
That's what she said.
However,
However, we did mention that this was main event worthy, at least for a show, because this could have gone off the air at the end of the segment and been like the main event of the show. This was great. Finn Balor comes out.
Out of nowhere.
Just Finn Balor's music, and it's like, what? He seriously comes out and does his pose on the stage, gets into the ring, though, and just signals he signals to the crowd to do his pose for him. I thought that was great. And he grabs the mic, and he says, and I quote, "As of now, Finn Balor is NXT."
Yep.
That's all he has to say, and he starts looking at the title. And Cole gets out of the ring and scoots the fuck away.
We had the distinction of seeing Finn Balor in his last WWE
Two
match.
nights before his
Yeah.
final match in WWE, before, I guess now, returning to NXT.
So that's pretty awesome, actually.
It's coincidence, but
Yeah,
the moment
I think it
still,
was awesome.
the moment's still incredibly, yeah, for those of you that don't know, when we went up to Toronto for SummerSlam, we ran into Finn Balor on Friday night on our way to meet Aaron and, let's see, Virtue and Caitlin and Aaron and their sister
Yep.
at a restaurant. That was pretty fucking awesome. This was pretty fucking awesome, though. I'm glad that, at the very least, even if he isn't staying for a long time, they're making it sound like he has permanently moved to NXT.
I think he is going to be staying in NXT for quite a while, and if anything, possibly shuffle over to NXT UK and challenge Walter for the belt at some point.
That would be cool. We've already seen him in NXT UK.
Yep.
Out of necessity.
Against Jordan Devlin, and that was a terrific match.
Yes.
I think that was kind of like the experiment to see how over he would go, and of course he's going to be over in NXT UK. So that was just brilliantly done and brilliantly executed, and just a great way to kick off the show.
Yeah.
And after that, it didn't really stop. It really didn't. We had one remotely cool down match this entire night, and even then, after that cool down match, another feud sparked out of nowhere, and we have to talk about that later.
Yeah, we didn't get a whole lot of video promos and shit like that. We did get a promo, and that's coming up in a moment. First, we get a recap of NXT in Des Moines. And
Yeah.
they specifically want to go there because Baszler apparently was there watching a Candice LeRae match. And it just pretty much leads into a promo package.
Yeah, pretty much Shayna Baszler, like, watching. It's like, yeah, everybody's cheering right now. They're gonna be crying on Wednesday. Those were her words.
Yeah. So this is later tonight. Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we spoiled that earlier, but we'll get there. In the meantime, we have Velveteen Dream come out, and I can't tell if he's got a new couch or not because he is surrounded by 8 hot chicks.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of looks like he made a couch out of 8 hot chicks.
Yep.
Which is cool.
That works, and that would have been just as gangsta.
I'm surprised that the Street Profits weren't there because there was all this smoke surrounding them.
Yeah,
to keep you
that's
from
all
seeing
they
what he's sitting on.
scream that they want, and
who wants the smoke more?
They're nowhere to be found.
Yeah, who wants the smoke more than the Street Profits? They have T-shirts. You want the smoke? You want the smoke? So after this, we've got Io Shirai versus Mia Yim, and this was for Mia Yim match. Oh, this was fun. This was all right. This was much like the opening match, fast paced from beginning to end.
Yeah, like with Mia Yim matches, I can honestly say she's getting better, but at the same time, I still can't take her seriously because she keeps on calling herself the head baddie in charge. As well, like she's playing that gimmick too hard at this point. She just needs to focus on getting the crowd over with her performance in the ring, and then start working on her promos a little bit more, and just take the Matt Riddle cue out of it. Start making more about her actions inside the ring versus what she's saying on the outside. And after she does that and establishes herself more, I think it'll be a lot better coming out of her. So,
well, we've seen good matches out of Mia Yim. They're just few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it was a good match. A lot to do with Io Shirai and just how much more vicious she is.
Yeah.
And she ends the match with her perfect moonsault. And sure, why not? She is on a roll, so give her the victory. Mia Yim's kind of in purgatory right now in the women's division. Doesn't really have a
Very much
direction.
so.
She had all this hatred towards Shayna Baszler, but Shayna Baszler is long since ready to move on.
And the Candice LeRae feud, That was almost one-sided.
Well, she gets this match with Io Shirai because she's the one that pushed Io Shirai off the top rope into Bianca Belair on the outside to basically eliminate them from the rest of the match, while she ended up getting reverse Rana pile drove into the mat and then subsequent lion salt into the pinfall. This is going to bring us Candice LeRae later, but in the meantime, we've got Hall and Nash in the crowd. Scott
Yep.
Hall, Kevin Nash, the Outsiders.
Good friends of Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Wondering how they have such great seats.
To me, 2/3 of the original NWO.
Yep.
That was
For me, the Click.
the Click. And we've shown the Street Profits and Bianca Belair coming in to the arena. I'm not sure if this was... No, this can't be live. Maybe. But they're coming into the arena, so it might have been earlier. But it's been a while since they've shown Montez Ford and Bianca Belair together as a couple. I think they might have shown footage of her on her honeymoon with him, but it was because she was doing a promo into her phone.
Yeah. I think if anything, this shows that maybe she's actually going to make the venture with them up to Raw. So,
well, they haven't made it there yet, completely. They still have a match tonight.
And if what you say is going to be true, and possibly Booker T, like mentoring them or managing them, I see Charmel coming back into the picture, and her and Bianca like having a whole bunch of disagreements.
Possibly. I would, for me, I would do without Charmel. For me, Charmel was a decent valet, but they kept trying to put her in the ring, and I don't think she really belonged in the ring. Bianca Belair absolutely belongs in the ring.
Well, I don't think Charmel belongs in the ring either, but it's not going to stop her from starting shit.
Yeah, but I was never a fan of Charmel. I thought maybe it was just because when she was with Booker T, that was like the worst version of Booker T for me.
Yeah.
Like, I really hated King Booker. And maybe I was meant to, but I thought Booker was so much better than that gimmick.
G.I. Bro was better than King Booker.
G.I. Bro. When I was a teenager, I liked it, sure, but not enough. Because I was always a bad guy fan.
You heard it first on What's NXT, folks. G.I. Bro over King Booker.
G.I. Bro over King Booker, absolutely. So, after this, out with the old, I guess, Bianca Belair, in with the new. We've got a video promo for Tegan Nox.
Yeah.
Now, we've gotten to see return promos for Tegan Nox recently, but that was debuting, really, in NXT UK.
Yeah.
But apparently she's going to be one of those bi-branded chicks, and giggity. She is going to now also re-debut and return to NXT.
She's still also doing the I know it's a hand symbol for just pretty much surfing and whatnot, and something Australian or English, but she's signifying the fact that Dakota Kai, the other member of Team Kick, will probably also be showing up with her. That's what I'm thinking. So that would be excellent television right there.
Really, and especially since we've got a WWE Women's Tag Team division that is supposed to be able to go to NXT.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think to NXT UK, and if they're both bi-branded, which we know we've seen, not Tegan Nox, but the other one.
Dakota Kai.
Yeah, thank you. Love Dakota Kai. Just terrible with names.
But both of them are back now.
Yeah, we've seen her in NXT UK. In fact, that's the last place we saw her before she got injured.
Yep.
I believe. Anyway, after this, we've got Johnny Gargano coming out, and I knew who he was facing. Had to be. The guy that's been the thorn in his side. First name Shane. Yeah, this actually made Shane Thorne look good there for a while. He didn't get the victory or nothing. I didn't expect that.
Shane Thorne's a veteran in the sport. He's been around for about 15 years, which a lot of people are like, well, he's still new. It's like, no, he's been doing this for well over a decade. You're just not hearing about him. The same thing was with Kevin Owens for the longest time. A lot of people don't know him as Kevin Steen, who's been wrestling even longer than John Cena, which Kevin pointed out as well. So to see Shane Thorne and Gargano work together in this match was great. They were just. They seemed like they had fought each other all over the globe, but they really hadn't. I don't think I've ever heard about them ever facing each other before, but this was like Dolly and Kenny. These two were just so in sync with each other that they were just having a fantastic match.
I feel like Thorne is a really good wrestler. He's just not very original.
Yeah.
There were a couple of original spots, I think, in this match, but not really anything to mention. It's just his promo skills and his character work are just meh.
They need work, but at the same time, like if you needed any kind of kudos or any kind of endorsement behind you, a great match with Johnny Gargano will at least get your foot in the door. And
I'm not sure I'd call this a great match.
Really good.
Really good, but I don't know about great. I've got like 2 or 3 notes here.
Well, we were actually busy watching the match. The match was good.
It was good. You're right. It was good.
It was
really
match.
good. It just, I don't think it was great.
Meanwhile,
it was mid-card anyway.
Okay, so let's put it this way then to compromise. There's a good Gargano match, and then there's a great Gargano match. Well, a good Gargano match is something we get on a normal NXT television show. He doesn't go completely all out and makes his opponent look great compared to what they usually look like.
But a good Gargano match is a great match for anybody else.
Yes.
Okay. So, I've got Thorne with that flipping cannonball he does is just, I like it because
he suspends himself.
We see a lot of cannonballs.
Yeah.
Reviewing NXT UK. Just a lot of fucking running cannonballs into
those
the corner.
Sentons.
But
everybody
he
comes
jumps, I swear he jumps from halfway.
Mm-hmm.
From corner to corner. I swear that's how far away he jumps. And he does a somersault.
And the vertical he gets out, it's pretty insane. It looks like a freaking typhoon.
And then he hits this last ride into a single arm sit out.
Yep.
And gets a near fall off of it. I thought he might have skimmed out a victory there, but no. He goes for this Shining Wizard, but Gargano ducks and hits a reverse Rana spike pile driver, and then super kicks him. Pinfall.
And then he just stands over him, and it's almost like, good game.
Good game, bro.
Good game, bro. Glad you showed up.
I think we get a commercial.
Buy a t-shirt.
I think we get a commercial, and we are right into our next title match. This is Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler. Yeah, it didn't end up becoming the main event, but really good fucking match.
Oh yeah, it was terrific. Like I didn't expect anything less out of the two of them. But Baszler, we get the usual standards out of her.
Great, but predictable.
Yeah. Because we saw Baszler coming out on top on this one. No help
really?
From no help from the Shafir and Duke. They actually got sent back to back, which is always a really cool thing to see, especially the champions here, because you have Cole, who didn't really need any interference, but has casting couch, as we called it, with him. And this time around, Shayna didn't need Duke Shafir out there with her either. She very seldomly ever does.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I think that's one of her strong points is the fact that she's got those mind games that she can play with people. It's like go ahead and try to get the upper hand at this point. If you do, I had 2 girls in the back that are going to come out here and fuck up your world.
But in the meantime,
they're always watching over their shoulder at the same time.
In the meantime, I thought possibly this was where Shayna Baszler loses the title. You have a title switch on essentially the season premiere.
Mm-hmm.
Because, they've had 2 shows, but all the season premieres are happening this week. And this is the first 2-hour, everything's gonna be on this show. Plus, we saw the season and series finale of Suits last week. So if last season ends, so anyway.
Yeah.
Ostensibly, This is the
Wow, big word out of you at this time in the morning.
yeah. Ostensibly, this is the season premiere
Yeah.
of NXT, and yeah, why not have a title change? And in this case, you don't have to take any titles off the Undisputed Era. You're just taking it off of Shayna Baszler, who's had it for a fucking year,
Yep.
almost a year. And they made sure to mention that when she came out, and that made me think, well, maybe this is the end.
I think now, especially with all these NXT UK superstars venturing over, that we're going to be getting a lot of NXT versus NXT UK at War Games. And it's going to be Baszler versus Ripley for the belt. And I believe that's where she's going to drop it. And that's when we'll see Ripley move up. Not Ripley, Baszler.
Yeah, move up to the main roster.
Mm-hmm. I think she'll be part of the draft. I think, and then from there, people will be waiting for her to lose the belt.
Now, see, I'm not necessarily tired of Shayna Baszler being the champion.
Oh, neither am I.
What I'm tired of is the challenger always having to be a babyface for the last entire fucking year. And the only break like the last year and a half, because the only break we had was when Io Shirai had the belt for all of a cup of coffee and a half a sandwich.
Yeah.
And then dropping it right back to Shayna Baszler, who's had it for this close to the last year.
That was Kairi Sane.
Kairi Sane, sorry.
Yeah. Wrong Japanese woman.
I'm just terrible with names. It's not that.
No, we just forgot all about that shitty powder gimmick for like 15 seconds. God.
Everybody wants to forget about that gimmick. I've got a couple of notes. There was a brutal spot where Baszler does a variation of the Baszler stomp. She throws Candice LeRae shoulder first into the steps. They're on the outside, obviously, after Candice LeRae does like a suicida. And then gets uppercutted, but then anyway, she does a suicida, gets thrown into the steps, and then while she's down on the floor with an injured shoulder, Shayna Baszler comes over and shoves her arm and wrist into the hole on the side of the steps that they use to carry them, and then runs into a kick and does the Baszler stomp onto her arm. And wow. That was brutal.
Yeah, it was.
But LeRae fights back. She ends up hitting a flatliner. They're on the apron. She hits a flatliner onto the apron.
Oh yeah, the hardest, most unforgiving part of the ring.
Yeah. I'm just glad we no longer have Cole on Raw to remind us of that every week. And,
we have Nigel on here, though.
While Shayna's on the outside, she gets in the ring and proceeds to hit 3 tope suicidas onto her.
In a row?
In a row? The trifecta. Baszler ends up catching her on the top rope twice because she slips off the top rope the first time and then hits a avalanche gutbuster suplex.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. And then we see another avalanche out of Candice LeRae. She hits a swinging neck breaker off the middle rope. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think she only got a near fall for that, though. She goes for that lion salt, and Baszler dodges. She twists to the side and then catches her with the Kirifuda clutch. And
that about signifies the end because she gets out at one point when you could flip around into it.
Yeah, she gets out of it initially, but eventually she just gets wrapped up in it. She can't get to the ropes and taps right before she passes out. I would have rather seen her pass out, honestly. By the point where she tapped out, I feel like they should have just let her pass out and just be one of those baby faces that doesn't like to tap out.
I think that would have added to her toughness a little bit more. Kind of like the whole Austin not tapping out the sharpshooter. But at the same time, I can see why she did it. Preserve herself to possibly fight another day and not be in a coma. But
7-second coma.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of 7-second comas, Mark Henry's in the crowd, and he could definitely knock you into a 7-second coma. He's sitting next to Stephanie McMahon, who is next to Alundra Blaze, a.k.a. Medusa.
Yep.
And she's there to sneak over and grab the women's title and throw it in the garbage.
Oh, that'd be something for her to come out of retirement, nail it quick inside cradle and win the belt.
Meanwhile, we get a video promo for Imperium, and it breaks it down to Walter versus Kushida, which we will actually see next week.
Yep.
So join us next week as we review that match. And I'm kind of looking forward to it because I feel like this is going to be Kushida's first official loss.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see Kushida lose to Walter.
Yes. Speaking of somebody losing to somebody, we get a match next.
Did they already make mention of the Cruiserweight title match we're getting this next week?
I don't think I made a note of that, so go ahead and mention that.
Oh yeah, we're getting Drew Gulak versus the returning Leo Rush Cruiserweight tag match or Cruiserweight title match next week.
Yeah, was it last week we saw the number one contendership match, which was pretty fucking sweet?
Yeah.
Was that the last week or the week before?
Yeah.
But, so yeah, looking forward to that.
I don't even think it was a number one contenders match. I think it was just his return match, and sure enough, I guess he was impressive enough to get the title match. So.
But again, meanwhile, on the Tron, we get a bear.
Yeah.
Because, it's Pete Dunne with his bare knee. If you haven't seen him pull down his knee pad, yes, he has a bare knee. Good cool-down match, as you mentioned. This was the cool-down match before the main event.
You actually asked at one point, but why? And I had to explain, what you said. A, it was a cool-down match, and B, I think Triple H wanted to show anybody that's watching NXT for the first time, like, every style of wrestling that NXT offers. And they needed that British strong style represented at least once in this show. And
sure,
they purvey it well. Both of them do.
But if we're going to see Pete Dunne 3 weeks in a row, why didn't we get Cameron Grimes for a 4th week in a row? I think that would have been a better match. Cameron Grimes finally loses, but it's to Pete Dunne. Or somehow gets a victory over Pete Dunne.
Well, that would have been a little too epic, I think. Unless it's a result of what we end up seeing at the end of this match. So, because it was hard hitting, it was a lot of what we expect, a lot of hooligan type moves out of Danny Burch, and your standard stuff out of Pete Dunne. No shrugs though, which kind of threw me off.
My first note of this match was a quote by Morrow, and I'm just going to read this. You know that Vaseline will be required when these two bruisers meet in the ring.
And we were both like, what?
I'm sure they're talking about using it to help an injury maybe, or maybe make you slicker so that you can get out of a submission move, but oh my God, Morrow, you got to choose your words better, bro.
Yeah, that was obviously so Triple H typed in the back. He kind of snickered at the same time.
Probably. Somebody's laughing at this. Somebody back there is laughing at this, and Triple H is like, "What? What's so funny?" And they're like, "Nothing."
No, Triple H is probably the one that typed it. He's probably the one that said, "Say this."
The second match of the night is for Danny Burch. That sick headbutt he does. He does it to the back of Pete Dunne's head. And then does a pop-up power bomb, which he does the Matt Riddle roll through. So now I don't know if Matt Riddle's all that original with it, but whatever. Does that roll through into the knee strike. And then throws him over the top rope and does that draping DDT. And that's his finishing move. And even I knew, I was like, nope, kick out. Yeah, he didn't get the victory here. We get some little bit of offense out of Pete Dunne into that wishbone finger snap.
Yep.
And then bitter end, which is like a pump handle lift into a flatliner.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Pete Dunne. Duh. I mean, come on.
But Dunne goes and is mugging out to the crowd, and all of a sudden, lights dim.
Yeah.
And
yeah, shit's not over, man.
Shit's not over. Pete Dunne looks even confused. Damian Priest out of nowhere.
Yeah, with a forearm to the back of Dunne's head, and then hits him with that what is it, inverted swinging DDT?
Yep.
Not swinging DDT, swinging neckbreaker.
Yep. The Reckoning.
The Reckoning, yeah. And what do you want to call it?
I wanted to call it the Intervention.
The Intervention.
but at the same time, granted, the sneak attack was cool. What made it even cooler? He does his pose, launches the arrow right in time.
Just in time, like the arrow literally was how long you would expect it to get to the Tron, and then the Tron lights up with his name.
Yep.
And he poses, and then he goes up to the ramp, and he does some pose, and then suddenly the Tron like flickers out, and then lights up his name again, and it's like somebody is on it.
Yes. Whoever the lighting and Tron guy was that night, kudos to you,
Kudos
man.
to you. You're the MVP of the night.
You did fantastic with that segment. You made us care.
Now, just before the main event, we get an interview with Adam Cole backstage about his title defense, and I think it's Kathy Kelly asked him, didn't you just hit him over the head with that cast? And he's like, okay, first of all, I didn't win the match with this cast. I won it with a last shot. I said it right.
Yep.
And second of all, I think he was going to say the reason he's got the cast is because of fucking Matt Riddle. In the first place.
But that's what you said, because I was like, did he just get himself disqualified?
No, because he was allowed to bring the cast because he needs it. What's he going to do? Not punch him with his dominant hand? I mean, he's right-handed, right?
He was clear to wrestle, so.
So, yeah, you can't disqualify him for using the cast when it's like Bianca Belair and her hair.
Yep.
She's allowed to come to the ring with it and wrestle with it because it's part of her now.
So the interview gets interrupted by the rest of Undisputed Era, talking about how Finn Balor's got some balls for showing up and just this, ruining that moment for him and everything. And
check it out, we've got 9 viewers.
Oh,
hey guys, do us a favor, share us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram before we finish up here, and see if we can get it into double digits. And it just went down 1, so let's not plug that. Let's keep going.
Does anybody have any questions?
No, I say that for the end, as always. I promise that. I've got a couple of notes for this main event. Oh, yeah, the Undisputed Era, they come in, they talk about Finn Balor and how disrespectful he was. And Cole's
after that, Cole just kind of steps away from the question and
he's
walks away with
what's more important right now is the tag title defense.
Yeah.
And keeping the gold prophecy
fulfilled.
Yeah. So that leads us into the main event. We've got the Street Profits come out through the crowd with, his name is Whale. I'm assuming he's a famous rapper. Or semi-famous.
Yeah.
He comes out singing, or rapping to the Prophet song.
He wasn't even rapping. He was just chanting along with it. He's pretty much the Flavor Flav. He's just pretty much the hype man.
Yeah, I was about to say the hype man.
Yeah.
For the Street Profits. He did a good job. He got the crowd chanting.
Yeah.
Profits when he said street.
And he also let it known a couple times that they want the smoke.
They want the smoke. And again, they should have been out there earlier because Velveteen Dream had all of the smoke.
He had all of the purple smoke.
All of the smoke. And Undisputed Era comes out. That's Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish defending the titles against Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins.
Yeah. Kyle O'Reilly still playing a sick air guitar on the belt. I hope he never loses it because I like watching him tune it, and I like the kicks.
You say that every time.
Yes.
But as I said before, I've got a couple of notes for this match, but it was good. It was really good for a main event on NXT TV. Sure.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the main event of the main event. That wasn't what made this special. The match itself was really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was great. I don't know if it was as good as the opening match.
I don't think it was. I think, if anything, it was just your standard tag defense. It really was. It was just like we saw live. We saw the Street Profits win the belts in that ladder match, which was an awesome ladder match. And then we saw them defend the belts. So, and won by, I won't say bad means, but it wasn't, right, because the legal ban was impeded. They made note of it and whatnot, and I think it took away a little bit of the Street Profits' thunder, and they felt the need to, justify themselves, and they did. they actually, you know.
The way I want to put it is we have seen better matches out of the Street Profits and better matches out of the Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
However, this is probably the best match we've seen out of the two of them together. The two teams versus each other.
They've actually got accommodated to each other's styles to the point where we saw a bunch of reversals and a lot of tag team work.
Didn't see any botches. It was really seamless. Again, a couple of notes. I've got, just because there was a lot of shit going on, and I just didn't want to write out everything that just was cool.
Well, that and the panic button got kind of hit towards the end there.
What was amazing was Montez Ford doing a running dive, a tope con hilo over, not the top rope, the top turnbuckle.
Yeah.
Like he goes shoulder over the ring post and comes down on all three of them. Undisputed Era and Angelo Dawkins must have pissed him off. This leads into the end of the match because I think that's where he took out Dawkins from the match.
Yeah.
He gets thrown back in and, he goes up top. He throws the legal man in, goes up top like he's going to come off probably with that frog splash again because he landed it earlier on the back of, I think it was O'Reilly, but he kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, come on, man. That's like one of his finishers.
Yep.
Whatever. He goes up top and Roderick Strong suddenly appears. And the ref sees him, and I think he grabbed his boot, but he got kicked off. And I'm like, that should be a disqualification.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, they not leave with the titles, that even though they get the win, but that should have been a disqualification. But it was enough of a distraction that he gets taken off the top rope and ends up with a high-low for the 1-2-3 on Montez Ford. The Undisputed Era retained the titles. Now, I said this was not the main event of the main event. This was the filler match before the actual main event, which was Adam Cole coming out to celebrate with his title while, of course, the rest of the Undisputed Era is there celebrating with theirs. And then the mood changes.
Yes.
Because they're in the ring kind of like looking at him like cheers on while he's on the stage, but behind him, the Tron does something different.
It flickers.
And then for us, it cut off.
Yep.
Because we had to go to a YouTube channel to watch the rest of this match. This match cut off actually for us on television like 7 minutes toward the end or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of time that we would have missed if somebody wasn't being fucking...
a pirate.
Yeah, kind of a pirate. And, I was going to say, an outlaw. Somebody's being an outlaw on YouTube. So we got to watch on YouTube the end of the match, but then it got cut off right when the Tron changed. And I was like, what was that? And Jerry recognized the flatlining sound, and he's like, that was Ciampa's music. I'm like, that's a great way to end the show. Just have his music play. Like, we just run out of time because we said we were going to cut after the end of the match. And you don't know what happens. Did he show up or didn't he? No, that wasn't the end of the show.
That would have been actually pretty cool, too.
Gives you a reason to tune in for next week.
Yep.
But no, Ciampa comes out.
Yep.
And he faces down not Adam Cole, but Goldie.
But automatically my boyfriend's back starts playing in my head.
Yeah, because he never lost Goldie.
No.
He got injured and had to relinquish the title. And my question is, when he does win it back from Adam Cole, does that mean that he is still the single-time champ, or is this his second reign?
It's going to be one that we're going to get to think about for a while.
Let us know in the comments. Do you think this is a continuation of the first reign since he never actually lost the title, or do you think it was going to be a second reign?
Well, the cool thing about this is if he says like he never truly lost the belt, so he's still a champion, which makes him the longest reigning champion, that could easily turn into a program with the longest reigning champion, the returning Finn Balor.
That would be great. They're still going to call him the two-time champ, I'm sure. But
yeah.
I feel like Man, he never lost the title.
And that's what's going to keep on saying. The two-time champ. It's like, let's get this straight. I never lost to Goldie in the first place.
I feel like he's coming back a little early, so maybe they're anticipating his first match to be a while off.
Mm-hmm.
And if we see him again, I don't necessarily want to see this at War Games because I'd rather see the Undisputed Era versus Imperium. But if we see him at War Games in his first match back, defeat Adam Cole for the title, again, he had to relinquish it, and as soon as he picked up wrestling again, he's champ.
Yeah.
So, it really would be like the longest time. Okay, anyway. That brings us to the end of the main event. And here on What's NXT, we like to rate the main event using the General's 5-star rating system. And you go first.
All right, so
5 stars.
So are we going with the tag match, or are we going with the after match of
all of the above? It's all one segment.
Oh, then, God, I'm gonna have to go 4 1/4.
4 1/4.
Because the tag match itself was fantastic, and it was a good closer for the first 2-hour broadcast. We got to see the Street Profits ostensibly in their last match, I believe, in the for NXT. It wouldn't shock me if it's their last match, and it's a great way for them to go out, and them for champion to reappear at the end, and then based on the back of an excellent show. So this was supposed to be the kickoff of this whole war thing that's going on with AEW. So if this was the kickoff, I can't wait to see like them try to outdo each other. It's a very, very good time to be a wrestling fan, folks, and this program tonight, like it proved it. This was something special.
Well, I called this a really good match. I don't think I would call it great. For me, great starts at 4 stars, but I'm going to give this as high as I can, 3 3/4, as a really, really, really good match. And then because of the aftermatch with Ciampa coming out, 4.
Yeah.
Easy. Off the back of a great show, another extra 1/4 star. I'm going to agree with you, 4 1/4 stars for this main event.
Nice. So that's
some hella star math, but we got there.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
We got there.
That makes it an A show.
All right. Before we get into your guys' questions, we're going to give you some time to drop official questions. All 7 of you, minus me, that's 6. All 6 of you watching us live, if you have any questions for us, drop them down below, because after the plugs, we will get to you. And thank you, everybody, for watching What's NXT Live. And especially thank you if you're watching on demand. We got a couple hundred views last week. That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been up to 200 plus in a while, so thank you, everybody. Join us tomorrow for the NXT party. We will be reviewing episode, I believe, 63 of NXT UK.
You and Evan did an awesome job last week.
Thank you. Yeah, Evan was great. I've had some awesome co-hosts. Jeff Meacham being probably the coolest out of the NXT group, or the No DQ group. But seriously, to have an actual wrestler as a co-host, that's cool. That's like the coolest in a different column.
Yep.
Like, wow, that was cool. And for him to cut a couple promos on me, like, that was even cool. Like, not even on me, like, that would have been cool too. Like,
he's got that charisma that will go say you lack.
So that was awesome.
So
but this week I know we're gonna have Chris Mace. We might have another guest. Who knows? But it'll be nice to have him back after a few weeks of him being.
But we want you.
Yeah, we want you. Come join us. Have a spot of NXT with us. Help us review a future episode of NXT UK. We'll put you on the big screen on Skype. We'll add you to the NXT team. Give you a cool nickname. And add you to the chat group so you can talk to guys like Jeff Meacham and Colin the Cleaver Andrew and Christopher Mason and Cindy G and Noah Foster.
Sometimes Noah Foster.
Lots of NXT members.
And James,
Yep.
We listed all of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can find me on Twitter. Go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or if you just want to look me up on Twitter, it's at Stefan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. You can also find the gentleman on Twitter.
At No DQ General, and also my Facebook group Armbar, all capital, RMBAR,
Exclamation point!
And we've got wrestling memes, discussions, just general malarkey. Don't try to ask on the actual Facebook because it doesn't work well for you in any way,
No, and
shape,
you'll
or
get
form.
kicked out of Armbar for your efforts.
Yeah, pretty
I've
much.
seen it happen, folks.
It happened. I was there. Wait a second. I did it.
So speaking of Armbar, I just got a message on Facebook Messenger because we do add NXT members on Facebook. Colin Andrew, he says to add him for tomorrow, so we're going to have the dynamic duo back. That's going to be awesome. Colin Andrew and Chris Mace.
That works.
The Holiday and the Cleaver. So that's cool. But if you'd like to join us on a future episode, first episode, you get the screen all to yourself, man.
Yep.
You are the official guest. Unless you want to have a co-host specifically that we can get for you. We can't guarantee Jeff Meacham every week, but sometimes there's a co-host that we could. If you're a fan,
yep,
we'll get you some.
Just don't be creepy about it.
Just don't be creepy about it.
Yeah, seriously.
Speaking of creepy, I have an Instagram that has no content and a whole bunch of followers, like 53. Please come be 54. Help me get to 100 because I think that would be hilarious. Literally, only a profile picture. You can find that at osborne.stefan, spelled the same way, just with that period in there. And find us on Aftermatch Wrestling. That's our channel on YouTube. I know you're watching this live on No DQ. And I guess this is now going to be exclusive to No DQ, which is fine, because that's where our audience is for NXT.
That's our bread and butter.
Bread and butter. Thank you, Aaron Riff, for giving us this platform and letting me go live on your channel. That's amazing.
Over a year now.
Over a year now. Like a year and a week.
Mm-hmm.
How cool is that?
Nifty.
So find us on Aftermatch. That's all one word. AFTERMATCH. Aftermatch Wrestling. And we do our NXT UK review there. It goes first and in HD before it comes on to No DQ. So you can find us there and click the bell icon on this channel, which will let you know when we go live next week, in case you want to catch us live on a Thursday morning for this show.
Mm-hmm.
But click on the subscribe button on Aftermatch to help us get to 1,000.
It's safe to say it'll be around like this time because it's the 2-hour program now.
Yep. So probably about 8 o'clock or later, maybe now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is getting better time for everybody.
Ballpark. Yeah.
We're getting in at like 6:37.
Yeah, that's not a good time.
Well, we do it when we can.
Morning breath time.
Now we're kind of forced to do it later. But anyway.
Yep.
Join us live for that. And to do that, you need to subscribe to No DQ and click that bell icon. And subscribe to Aftermatch so you can get the NXT party first. And help us share the word.
Help us reach 1,000 so we can start doing it on our channel live.
Yeah, we're going to start doing the NXT UK review live on Aftermatch once we hit 1,000. We have to hit 1,000 to do that.
Yep.
That's the only reason that's the goal. If it was 250, the goal would be 250, but 1,000. So help us out, and we've got a raffle. Like, if you share one of our videos on your social media, just take a screen cap, send it to me. You've got all my social media, just DM it somewhere. And we're putting in a raffle. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, somebody's going to win a board game.
Mm-hmm.
Clue, an 80s edition. It's retro, like it's not, 30, 40 years old, but it's a free board game.
Yeah.
Shipping will be free and everything. I'll just send it to you. Give me a P.O. box, whatever. Now, let's get to the questions. When will, Christopher May says, when will Ciampa win Goldie back, and would he have lost it to Gargano had he not got injured? I think by now he would have lost it to somebody.
Yeah.
Gargano would have made the most sense, but I'm not sure.
I don't think he would have lost it to Gargano. I think he would, like you said, I think he would have dropped it to somebody else. Probably Adam Cole.
Probably Adam Cole.
He still would have dropped it to Adam Cole because they would have still gotten the call up as DIY. Because they're
that was about to happen. They were about to both get called up to the main roster along with.
So pretty much it would have been
it
would have been a final match, pretty much with probably Gargano getting the win, possibly, but not winning the belt. kind of like one of those victories. That,
Yeah, right.
and then Cole like just winning some sort of like Money in the Bank type thing. Probably in that 5-way scramble that they probably would have had, it would have been Money in the Bank kind of scenario. Cashed in on Ciampa and Ciampa would have lost it.
So Ken Terminated by Google says, I don't think Stefan and Jerry are in the chat room. This is true because we are currently doing the show. I apologize for that. At first we were answering questions and getting to comments like during the show, but I think we just need to put that off until the end unless we get a super chat. Just because that's what we said. At the end of the show, we will take your questions.
Or we just need to get a third person here just to watch it.
Yeah, preferably but one with big boobs. That's not a dude with big boobs. So if we can get that done, we will. But otherwise, at the end of the show, yeah, we will get in the, or at least I will. Jerry's not got his phone out, but I'll get in the chat and check the questions.
Well, I don't have the YouTube app. I just go straight.
Also, when Chris had asked when Ciampa will get the championship back, and I think whenever he's medically cleared to have the main event.
Yeah, I think the company is so high on him at this point that whenever he's ready and cleared to wrestle and won't, get paralyzed on the first move he does, I think they'll put the belt on him.
He was probably the biggest heel in NXT history before the injury. Now he's going to come back with an injury angle into a babyface role, and I mean, this is the golden piece right now for NXT. If he is legitimately healed and cleared to wrestle,
he'll be coming back from an injury that put Edge out, more or less, of the sport. So that's pretty massive right there. That's dedication. Or stupidity.
It's an injury that eventually took Edge out.
Yeah.
He did wrestle for a while. He just was on borrowed time, and I think the same is going to be said for Ciampa. He may wrestle sort of protected, but at the same time, wrestling is wrestling, and accidents happen.
Protect your neck.
Yeah, it's just prolonging his eventual early retirement, but for now, at the very least, we get Ciampa back, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, more questions. Reviews says, okay, my question is this. I think it's obvious Kushida will lose to Walter next week. What direction will they go with Kushida after the loss? A rematch, or will he just move on after defeat? I honestly think that Kushida might win the match, possibly via disqualification or something like that, and somehow secure an opportunity at the United Kingdom Championship from Walter.
That'd be interesting.
And that would be the direction that they go from it. But if that doesn't happen, if he does lose, if he's going to start facing NXT UK guys, I think the next guy I want to see him in the ring with is Ilya Dragunov.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Because I've not been impressed with Kushida up until this point, and I had not been impressed with Dragunov until we saw him with Cesaro.
Yeah.
So I want to see what that could do. I don't even see that being a feud. I just see that being a match. After that, I really don't know. There's no...
The only other thing I can see being done with Kushida at this point is being thrust back into a feud again with Gulak or whoever has the Cruiserweight belt at that point.
Well, his whole gimmick up until this point was he was a star so powerful from Japan that everybody wanted to have a piece of him, and that being 205 Live guys, NXT UK guys, SmackDown guys.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants a piece of Kushida. Now he's actually getting into a rivalry with Walter, and that's just bad news because Walter's got Imperium with him.
Yeah.
So I don't see where he goes from this unless they plan on moving him brands.
I think it's just an excuse to put Walter in a ring with somebody that's got like a big buzz around them.
Yeah, Chris May says Kushida challenges for Cruiserweight title. Mark's reviews again. This question is out of left field. Do you think Marty Scurll or Kota Ibushi will ever pass on AEW contract to sign with WWE instead, or is there no chance for either of them? I think there's a good chance for Kota Ibushi to sign with WWE eventually because they did have him in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Mm-hmm.
So they know this guy and they have worked with him. Unless he seriously snubbed them in some way that made them angry, I could see him eventually coming and being in the Cruiserweight division or even being a piece on NXT or SmackDown.
I see Marty like being more AEW than anything else, or just going with New Japan. I don't really see him coming over to NXT.
To me, I don't really know a lot about Marty Scurll, or I think I've seen one match with him. He seems like a guy that's in that club,
Yeah.
that elite club, and I wouldn't say that he would go to WWE. Like they might welcome him, but I don't.
Oh, he's Bullet Club all the way. So he was the villain in Bullet Club.
But as far as I know, he's a
time.
fairly young guy, and things change over time. In 5 or 10 years, you never know. Something could happen. There could be a falling out, and he could end up in WWE. You never know.
Yep. Oh, I'd probably put him in NXT UK first, naturally.
There's going to be a lot more options.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be some fun stuff going on.
Holy shit! Chris May says, "I want the board game." Well, fucking.
Well, that's unfortunate, Chris.
Are they
not every day is a holiday?
Are they disqualified because they're NXT team? I don't think so.
No, I don't think. Well,
send me a screen cap of you sharing this video on one of your social media things, and then I'll fucking put you in the raffle, dude.
Don't tell them to share stuff, dude.
Those are the rules, bro.
He does too much sharing. That's why he keeps like getting booted from Facebook.
Getting terminated by Google says, "What do you guys think of Leo Rush coming back as a face? I prefer him as a heel, honestly. I think I got annoyed with him as a heel because he was the mouthpiece for Bobby Lashley, and we were supposed to be annoyed by him, so he did a really good job of it. If he's that good job of being suave as a baby face, I think I'm going to prefer him as a baby face for now."
My thing is, if he wins the belt, we're not going to hear the end of it. So the obnoxiousness that he had before is only going to be amped up by the fact that he's got gold around his waist to feel super entitled because he's got the title.
Mark's review says Leo Rush is great, but yeah, better as a heel. I prefer it over Ricochet. Those two have had awesome indie matches.
Yeah. Oh, he's former Combat Zone Wrestling Champion. He's pretty well established on the indie scene, especially up north.
Chris May says, "Who should Ciampa face first, and is he fully medically cleared?" We don't know if he's fully medically cleared. I feel like it's a little early for him to be fully cleared to wrestle, but his first match should be Adam Cole for the championship, and he should win it. Period.
I don't know. I think he should probably go against at least one of the members of the Undisputed Era.
Nope.
At least one
first match back.
At least one of them.
No.
No,
you're not gonna give away his return match one match before the championship match. Either he's going to come back and have several squash matches or shit like that leading up to it, or his first match back is going to be a title match.
Yep.
It's one or the other, man. Then again, by then it could be a WWE fucking program.
Alright, but I'm going to ask you one question now. Because we have Hell in a Cell, or actually we have SmackDown coming up on Friday. Do we see Shane McMahon winning the ladder match and Kevin Owens probably making his own return to NXT since he'll be fired from SmackDown?
That is a good possibility.
I think that'd be the best course of action for him at this point.
There's a lot of people I think could benefit, and even somebody, Ken terminated by Google. I'd like to see Antonio Cesaro going back to NXT or NXT UK.
That's the thing. It's not even a demotion anymore. NXT is just a superior brand. We've been trying to beat this into people's heads for over 365 days now.
Cesaro should be in NXT UK. Sheamus should be in NXT UK. Drew McIntyre should be in NXT UK, vying for the UK title from Walter, and joining Gallus.
And there should be some sort of European titles somewhere in between for the rest of the guys to fight over.
Bring back Kevin Owens for a while. Sure, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
It's going to be live on USA. They're going to start touring. It's just going to be another main roster show.
Yeah.
It's just going to be run by Triple H. So why wouldn't Kevin Owens want to be on that show?
And you can actually tell by this show that there wasn't a lot of McMahon influence short of all the ads for other shows. But that's just USA. USA has to have you plug shows. But otherwise, this was all Triple H's doing. You can just tell.
I would like to think that they don't get a pay cut either for going to NXT because they've already signed WWE contracts.
Yeah. If anything, they're promoting another WWE product. And
so fuck yeah, send Kevin Owens to NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Then I get to cover Kevin Owens, and all you main roster fucks can go fuck off.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry. I'm not trying to be that mean. Never.
Yeah, you are.
So, any more questions?
We're pretentious snobs when it comes to NXT.
Ken Terminator by Google says, "Is Kushida more over than Gulak?" Not to me.
No.
Maybe to the crowd, but not to me.
Gulak's got an awesome campaign to him, and he's going to be an awesome champion regardless. So.
Ken Terminator by Google says, "Bad Jerry, stay away from cigs." No, Jerry doesn't smoke. I'm the smoker. Colin Andrews says, "If the moon were made of spare ribs, would you eat it?" I mean, if I could get to it, I would say I would definitely nibble on it. I mean, ribs is ribs, right? If it were made of spare ribs.
Holy cow!
The honest answer is, hell the fuck no. Like, it's way the fuck up there. How am I going to get to it to even nibble on it? Like, that's ridiculous, Colin.
I'd eat it. I have some Sweet Baby Ray's, some potato salad. It'd be on plate for $3.50.
I love some ribs, man.
Oh yeah. I'd have the itis.
My favorite frozen meal is those fake ribs. Those things that are pressed to shape like ribs.
God, you're so white.
Dude, I'm a sad bachelor.
I think we're done.
I've got one more question.
One more question?
Let's
Cool.
see. Mark's review says, "I feel terrible bringing up AEW, but this question does tie in. Do you think a few years down the line, Adam Cole or AJ Styles goes to AEW and attack Kenny Omega for revenge in New Japan Pro Wrestling?" I think that's a solid no for AJ Styles. I feel like AJ Styles is going to wrap up his career in WWE, and that's going to be relatively soon.
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever contract he signed last might be the last contract he signed.
I think he's gonna get while getting's good, pretty much. He's had an excellent career. He's got his family to look after at this point. And if he ever wanted to return to wrestling, he'll always be in ring shape to actually do it.
See, the problem with AJ Styles is much like Shawn Michaels, until the Y2J incident, he doesn't look as old as he is.
Yeah.
He looks much younger than he is. So you look at the guy and you think, oh, he's still got 20 more years.
No.
Or at the very least, 10 or 15 more years.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's got more like 5 or 10 if he's stretching it.
Mm-hmm. Especially with his touring lifestyle and the way he still works his matches, he's about done.
He seems like the kind of guy that's smart enough to save his money in a way that he doesn't have to work until he's Ric Flair's retiring age. You know?
He's wrestling a lot safer than he used to, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, all that years of wear and tear from Ring of Honor and Impact and when he first started in WWE, yeah, he's in the twilight at this point.
Now, Adam Cole's a different story. Yeah, I could see Adam Cole going to AEW one day.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? If AEW does become a legitimate competing brand, then any guy that's in WWE right now, I
don't see them
could end up going over there.
That's the thing with them. I really don't see them being a competing brand as much as just a money-making one. As long as they're making money and treating their talent correctly, I can see anybody making the jump over there. Especially if they get any creative say in their character.
Ooh, here's a cool question. Okay, so I'm going to skip the top part because it's cool, man. If you had, this is Mark's reviews again. If you had to erase the library of every match in your mind, would it be Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart?
Probably Bret.
Shawn Michaels. I could get rid of all Shawn Michaels' matches right the fuck now, including his entrance from the rafters in WrestleMania. I could get rid of all of that right now, but there's no way in hell that I would get rid of Bret Hart versus Chris Benoit in the tribute match to Owen Hart on WCW Nitro.
Oh, that tugged on the heartstrings.
Nope, that's not going anywhere. So it's easily Shawn Michaels.
Oh, dude. You had to bring up that one.
I'm fucking practical, man.
You're a bitch. Like, one match.
You zero in on the one match. Because
Yeah.
for Shawn Michaels, I can't even zero in on the one match. Like, Bret Hart had his match with Stone Cold at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I mean, easily one. I know that's Aaron Riff's favorite match of all time. It's easily one of the greatest matches of all time. But just Bret Hart versus Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
And now, after things have played out, it's got a whole different meaning to it. Like, that's a very meaningful match. And when I was a kid, that was a really big thing. Well, teenager, but whatever. Yeah, easily Shawn Michaels. Anybody want to give theirs? Shawn Michaels or Chris Benoit? Yeah, Chris Mace agrees. Shawn Michaels. And Mark's Reviews is a Bret Hart diehard fan.
Hmm?
He said Shawn will always be my rival, even in old age. Right on. All right. Well, I think that's the last of the questions. That brings us to the end of this episode of What's NXT.
Yeah, you want to say NXT party.
Yeah, we've already done the plugs. We've done the questions. So for the General Jerry Slaughter, I am the Wizard of No DQ, Stephen Osborne, and thank you for sitting for an hour and 15 minutes, something like that, with us. Holy crap.
It's a 2-hour show now.
Yeah, that's true. But next time we'll try and keep this shit under an hour.
No. This
Anyway.
was fun. I like this. This is good.
Well, thanks for having some fun with us, and we will see you in NXT time.